Hi, it's day 9 and it's time for another juice recipe. Except today, it's not really a recipe. This is a whatever is left in the refrigerator juice. So there were some items I had left over in the refrigerator and wanted to go ahead and use those before they spoiled. So what I do have today is some greens. So far we have been juicing some vegetables, but this will be our first green juice. And green juices have very beneficial health benefits for us. And really we should be drinking more green juices on a regular basis. So our first green juice for today will include kale. We have some kale. This is what we call dinosaur kale. You're probably familiar with the curly kale that's typically found in stores. And I have some leftover dandelion greens. I found these in the refrigerator. They were getting a little wilted. You're all familiar with dandelions. They're the plants that grow with the yellow flower coming out of it. And it's mostly considered an herb. So the roots, the stems, the stalk, the leaves, and even the flower is used for medicinal purposes. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And some of the benefits of dandelion includes it aids in weight loss in that it helps carbs to metabolize and helps fats to not be stored. It also aids in, it is a natural diuretic, and it's also a natural laxative. So it's good for the digestion, and it's loaded with iron, so it helps to prevent anemia. And it's also a natural detoxifier, so it helps cleanse the liver as well. So let's get to it. Oh, and so when reducing greens, kale actually has a mild taste to it, but the dandelions actually are a little bit bitter. So we do want to add some fruits in there to kind of sweeten it up a little bit. So here we go. Got the plunger. So let's let the pear add in some flavor, and this juice should be finished. So we're going to let that turn as that comes out. And while that's still coming out, I'm going to put this away. Our jar. Let's get ready for our juice. And again, your juices can last up to 3 days in the refrigerator in a jar that's sealed tight, airtight. All right, let's swirl this around. This is going to be really, really good. All right. Look how pretty that is. Oh my, gorgeous. That's a nice green color. Look at that. All right, let's give it a sample. The pear did it. I'm tasting the flavor now. I taste just a barely little bit taste barely a small amount. Get my words together. I taste a very small amount of the green juice, but it's in there. It's not too overpowering and it's not too sweet. So it's a very hydrating drink. You get a little bit of the green and you get that flavor from the pear, and of course the apple and the orange did add some sweetness to it. So cheers. This is delicious. So you can make green juice just to your liking. Now on to our raw food recipe. Our raw food recipe today is sushi rolls, except they're going to be raw sushi rolls. But they're going to be raw vegan sushi rolls because these will have no meat in it. But I promise they'll be just as delicious. This is one of the fun recipes that I like to make. So what we're going to do to make our rice for our sushi roll, we're going to use parsnips. Remember, we used this in another recipe. So we're going to peel this, we're going to chop it up, and we're going to put it in our food processor. We're going to process it till it looks like rice. We're going to add in some chopped pistachios with that to give it some color and to give it some more texture as well. And to that, we're going to add about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a teaspoon of soy sauce. And so once we mix all of that together, the rice still may be a little bit crumbly. So we're going to take a little bit of the avocado and blend that in as well, just to kind of make it all stick together. Just like white rice has that starch to make it stick together, well, we're going to use the avocado to kind of help our parsnips stick together. So once that's all blended up, we're going to roll that out on our nori sheets here. And I actually have two, so I'm going to double layer it so that the moisture from the vegetables won't cause that to fall through. And then for our toppings, we're going to top our rice with some marinated mushrooms. I marinated these in soy sauce for about 10 to 15 minutes, so it actually looks like they're cooked. Oops. I was talking about a soy sauce alternative. You can use liquid aminos or coconut aminos. It'll still give you that salty taste as well as the umami flavor that the soy sauce gives, except without the soy. I have some cucumber slices we're going to put on top, and we're also going to use some avocado slices. And I have some broccoli sprouts that we're going to put on for color and for some added nutrition. And of course, we have our dipping sauce that we're going to dip our rolls in once we're all done. So let's get this party started. So let the fun begin. I'm just going to move these all over here. And I'm just going to show you how I make everything from start to finish. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut and peel the parsnips. Remember, they're brown in color, but once you peel the skin off, they're actually white on the other side. So I have my vegetable peeler, and we're just going to peel off the skin. And even as you're holding it in your hand, you can tell that it's not very water rich. It's very dry. I won't say very dry. It's drier than your typical carrot. So we're going to slice these up just in like a little smaller chunks so the food processor doesn't have to work as hard. So it's our food processor with the S blade. So we're just going to drop those in there. So really you want about 1.5 to 2 cups of parsnips, or excuse me, 1.5 to 2 cups of parsnips. After they've chopped up, you want about 1.5 to 2 cups. And that should make about 2 or 3 rolls. And of course, we're going to cut up the rolls into about 4 or 5 pieces. So I'm going to process these first, let those get chopped down a little smaller, then I'll add the pistachios. Oh yes. Okay, they're almost there. Let's add the pistachios. Oh, that is perfect. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look. So this is the texture that we want. See how small that is? It's rice-like, very small. We don't want it too small because we don't want to get mushy, so don't leave it in there too long. So that is perfect. So now we're going to add in about a teaspoon of soy sauce and about 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And then we do want to add in our avocado. And I would just say a really small piece. So I would cut off like a 1/4 wedge. And then I would take maybe half of the wedge and put in there. So it all depends on the amount of rice. But you want to start with a small amount first, because we've already put some other liquid in there. So we may not need that much. So I'm just going to chop this up. Drop it in there just a little bit. We don't want it mushy. We just want it just a little bit of moisture to hold it together. And because it is starting to stick together, you may want to take a spatula and just kind of mix it around a little bit so that the avocado gets mixed in very well. So we might have to do this about 2 or 3 more times. Because when the blades spin, it pushes everything up to the side, and we just want to come and push it back down towards the middle. And then at this point, you can check maybe with your hands, like hold it together, see how crumbly it is. So we probably need just a little bit more avocado because it still is falling apart in my hand. So I'm just going to cut off another small little piece. Chop that up in there. Right now it's still flying up to the sides, and we just kind of push it towards the middle. I can smell those flavors coming through already, and that smells good. And if you want, you can actually at this point taste it as well, and we can add a little bit of salt. But the soy sauce will have enough salt in it. So let's get that off the sides. Okay, again, we're going to feel for moisture. Oh, that is perfect. Oh, let me show you that. See? See how I hold it together? See how it's not falling apart? It's holding together. So that's perfect. So you definitely don't want to overdo it on the avocado. So just want to make sure that you look in there and make sure the avocado pieces are all blended in well. And once you take it out, you can definitely use your spatula or a fork to mash down any pieces that may have not gotten mixed in. Yeah, that looks and smells delicious. Uh-oh, got our calendar falling down here. Okay, let me get a bowl. Okay, this is ready. Our rice is ready. Look at that. See how it's sticking together? And look, the soy sauce actually added a slight color to it. So it's not white, but I like that my food has color. It makes it very appetizing. So the pistachios was a nice touch too, because it adds that little bit of color, adds that crunch. Let's taste. Oops. Mm-hmm. Mmm. 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 Just those 3 ingredients, but the pistachio, 4 ingredients actually. The soy sauce, the apple cider vinegar, the avocado and pistachios, and with the parsnips. Man, I wish you could taste this. In fact, you need to make it so you can taste it yourself. So I'm going to set that aside. The only thing left now is to put everything in a roll it up, and get ready to eat. Let me just get some of this out of the way. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so what's left are our toppings. So this is a silicone mat that I'm going to use for my rolling mat. If you have a bamboo mat, then go ahead and use that. Use whatever you have. I'm going to take my nori sheets and place that on top of the mat. Let me put the paper towels over here to make sure that the surface is dry. I don't want my nori sheets to get wet before I even roll them. So there. Okay, so we have our rice. Look at that. We have our toppings, our cucumbers and mushrooms. Put this over here if you can see that. And of course our avocado for our slices. So we'll do this last because I don't want that to turn brown. So basically we're just going to take some of our sushi rice, or our parsnip rice in this case. We're just going to spread it out from edge to edge. You want to be a little generous with it. Actually, let me pull it a little bit closer towards me. You want to make sure it comes all the way to the edge on both sides, because when you roll it, you don't want the tops or the bottom to sink in because it didn't have any filling. So I'm going to come back on this side and fill in this side right there. Perfect. All the way to the edge. See how that's staying together? Nothing's falling over. This is perfect. All right, and then we're just going to kind of flatten it out a little bit because we want to put our toppings on. Nice. So we can start with our mushrooms. So that's soy sauce. It's actually all throughout this recipe. We had it, our mushrooms soaking in it. We put some in our rice, and we're definitely going to be dipping our rolls in some at the end. So This is fun. Okay, now we're going to put our cucumber slices. Now when you're getting ready to cut this, it's best to use a serrated knife or a very sharp knife, because if it's not sharp, then it's going to push all your filling out. So we want the knife to be able to go from top to bottom with very little sawing motion so that the filling stays in place. So the cucumber will give us some crunch as well as a refreshing flavor as well. Yes, so I got all of those on there. Look how pretty that looks. I'm gonna have to bring the camera down and pan the image here when we're done. So I'm just gonna take, so on this, I've already used a wedge, so now I'm just gonna do a small slice. So I probably could have gotten it smaller. Just peel the skin off. And then I want it smaller, so I'm actually going to cut this into 3s. And then we're just going to lay those across the top as well. And there's not a right or wrong way to do this. You just put them on and see where they fall and let them go from there. So the cucumbers I was actually able to lay crosswise, and then the avocado I'm actually doing kind of diagonal so the cucumbers don't fall off. But this is looking good. Alright, I believe this will be the last one. We'll slice that in half. Very good. So even though it looks like we used a lot of soy sauce, you have so many other ingredients on here that's going to help absorb that flavor. So it shouldn't be too salty. And last but not least, we're going to put on our broccoli sprouts. And if you have some greens, some microgreens, you can definitely put on there. Make sure these gets on the end. And we want to make sure it gets right in there, because when we cut it, those greens sticking out on the top is going to make it look really, really pretty. Okay, so let me get this out of the way because I want to bring the camera down for you on this one. And take a picture. That way you can see, I think you can see pretty good. But that right there is nice. Maybe I can just pick it up. Wow, I'm so proud. Look at I feel like I've built a tower. And it's so pretty. Look. So you see the sushi rice, or the parsnip rice on the bottom. Then we have our layer of marinated mushrooms. Then we have our cucumbers. Then we have our avocado. And then we have our sprouts. So let me wrap this up because I do not want this to fall over. I'm just so proud. Okay, here comes the hard part. So making sure it stays together while you roll. So the purpose of the mat is to roll. I guess I'll show you as we do it. So I'm going to pick up the nori sheets on the edge. Can you see? Let me move back. There we go. So I'm going to pick up the nori sheets on the edge, and then I'm going to use my fingers to hold down the toppings and lift everything and then roll until it all kind of comes over to the edge like that. This is a fat roll. See, everything's over. So then what I'm going to now do is I'm going to move this to the edge. Now I'm going to take the mat, roll that over, make sure it's near. I'm going to make sure the mat is touching the bottom, because what we're going to do, we're going to pull back and squeeze everything together. See there? We're going to pull back. We're going to pull back. Hope you can see that. So I'm just pulling back. So it's just creating more room for us to roll. And then I'm going to roll again. And then if I can, maybe pull back a little bit more. I think this is fat. I see some of the stuffing coming out, so that's good. So now what I want to do is, you can wet your finger, take some, like a cup of water, wet your finger and wet the edge, and then roll it over, and what that'll do, it'll seal it in. Okay, so I'm just going to take my wet fingers and just dab the edge here, and then I'm going to roll this up. See how it sticks? And remember, I used 2 rolls, so now I have to seal the second layer. So I'm just going to wet the edge. I'm going to roll that up and then just kind of seal it like that. And voila! I'm so proud. I'm so proud. Okay, here it is again. So that is its seal. There's the seam that we've sealed with the water. And then we can push the edge in when we get ready to cut. All right, here we go. Oops, it's falling out. That's okay. I'm picking it up. I'm showing it off. So I'll make sure all of that gets tucked back in there. Nice. Okay. Now, we want to make sure that our knife is sharp. Again, you want to use one with rigid edges and a seesaw motion so that you're not pressing down, because if you press down, then all your filling's going to come out. Okay, so now we're going to start cutting. So first you want to puncture a hole first. So you want your knife up and down, and then just barely press. Actually, did that backwards. We want to start in the middle, because we're going to cut in half, and then cut in half, and then cut in half. So we'll start in the middle. We'll puncture a hole first, and then we'll cut down into. Actually, I just like doing it like this. So if you puncture down and just cut out like that, and then go straight down, it's a lot easier. Let's get the bottom piece. And voila. So we have that cut. So now that these two, so now we're going to do half of this one and half of the other one. Clean your knife. You're going to go straight down. And then I just keep going straight down to the back, flip the knife over, and then go straight down, straight forward to the front. And then I go straight down and cut it in half. Because this is so thick and juicy, I'm gonna see if I could cut it in half one more time. But I think if I tried that, because these are really big, we need to get these down smaller. And this one is getting a little loose. So I'm just gonna squeeze that back together. So you might have to hold the ends in together like this and then cut for the end pieces. So I'm gonna cut this one in half again, holding the ends together because it looks like it's trying to come out. But we got it. Ooh. That's why you need a really sharp knife, because I went in a little hard on that one and now my insides have come out. But we're going to make this work. I'm going to take it, just going to set it right there. Oh, there we go. This one came out beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to do this one in half. We're going to saw to the back, flip, saw to the front, and then saw straight down. I'm going to use a longer knife. I think this one is sharper. Because the key is you want to make sure that you get the bottom part cut. Because if not, they won't break apart. Or if you want, I'm just going to roll it over and then just saw it from the top. Ah, there we go. So you can do that. So we're going to punch the top. Use the longer knife to saw. Flip it over. And then whoops. All you have to do is just find the seam on the bottom and just cut through it, and that'll be fine. See, they came apart perfect. Okay, one more. Again, if you have to hold the sides in, you might want to do that. So to the bottom, flip it over, find the seam, and just get that bottom part. So these are our parsnip rice sushi rolls today. It is a raw vegan dish, no meat, made with marinated mushrooms, avocado, and cucumbers. And of course, we made our green juice for our juice adventure today. And let's go to our juice advent calendar and get our word for the day. Day 9. And it says, great job. I want to congratulate you and say great job to you for joining me on this raw juice adventure. And a great job on attempting to add more fresh juice into your diet and including more fresh fruits and vegetables. So we'll see you on tomorrow.